And what is going on, Pewter Peeps? Welcome into the all-new Pewter Cast, where you can find all of your best Bucks news, notes, analysis, takes, hot and otherwise. Of course, Pewter Cast is the newest and official podcast of the Fan-Sided Network. That's Ren. You know him. I'm Steve Carney, and we're welcoming you in here as you are watching us live streaming on YouTube, on Periscope, and Twitch, and a whole bunch of other platforms around there. Also on the pewtercast.com and the pewtercast.live. And if you are listening to the podcast, we thank you for hitting that subscribe button and all the like and leaving us ratings and reviews that are hopefully good. Although sometimes bad ones, and that's okay. We like those as well. So, Ren, I want to start off by asking you about your week. How has your week been? You've got to be really excited about everything that's gone on so far here this week with the Bucks and the free agency that is now officially official.
Right. I mean, like the Bucks have only lost one player. The big three that people that don't follow the Bucks closely were like, they'll never sign them. They're all back. Suckup's back. Nunez-Roches, Nacho came back today. So, I mean, yeah, it's full steam ahead. And, the one thing I need to find out, and I should have looked it up, was like, I need to know what these voidable years mean. Like, I understand that, like, they put them on the back end to sort of, extend guaranteed money. But like when the first voidable year comes up, does all the money come, like all the money on the other voidable years come up against the cap that year? And if not, why not just sign like, Chris Godwin to 5 years, 120 million with 100 voidable years and put like $100 on each year? Like I don't get it. Like I don't understand how it worked for the players or back and forth. Besides that, I mean, that's nothing. We'll figure it all out eventually. But yeah, I mean the offseason can't be going any better for the Buccaneers.
So do you want to make me eat crow for my suck up comments and knowing that you and I went back and forth a couple of times talking about what exactly we would pay Suck Up to come back. And the fact that he gets a 3-year deal and it's going to be worth $2.4 million. And here I was not willing to offer half that to a kicker. I think I need to eat some crow. I really do.
Okay, well, go ahead. I don't care. I mean, you'll come to find out that I'm going to be right a lot. So if you disagree with me, that just means naturally you're going to be wrong a lot. So, but I'm not going to rub it in your face. I mean, I'm just used to it. It's like, I just kind of have the my finger on the pulse of the team. So yeah, I mean, if you want to go ahead and say that you were wrong, that you would only pay Suck Up like $1.5 million to walk out the door, then go right ahead. But I'm not going to bring up that twice that you said that Ryan Suck. Wait a minute. I actually have a banner for this. I don't even know if I was ever going to use it. Wait, let me see if this works. Okay. I gotta take down Kyle Driver's welcome and the new host Steve for the super chat. Thank you very much.
First off, thank you for the $2 as well.
Yeah, you'll get to know Kyle a lot. He even calls in. So here we go. I wasn't ever sure if I was going to use this, but here we are. This is our first Pewtercast fight.
Yes, the Pewtercast fight where you were saying, give Suck Up whatever he wants because we know.
I didn't quite say that.
Okay,
but yeah.
Okay, but you were
much out of 3 million.
Yeah, I was not nearly. I was half that at most, and turns out that it was much closer to what you were looking for, or you were willing to give him as opposed to me. He probably would have walked if I was the general manager of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So it's probably better that he listened to you rather than listen to me. So I'm going to eat crow on that one. And you can smack that one around. Yes, Ren wins the first fight, the first Pewtercast fight of the 2021 season. There's probably going to be a ton of them, and I'm probably going to lose a lot of them because I tend to be really on one side or the other, and so I'm not gonna be down the middle with all of that. So congratulations to Ryan Suckup for proving Ren right and making me look like a complete and utter idiot. But as you mentioned, the only
I had nothing to do with it.
Yes, you did. You were because you were right. You were right.
That doesn't. I think it's that you were wrong is the part that made you not look good,
which makes me an idiot.
No one said that.
No, they don't have to. So I see a lot of people asking about Andrew Adams. He is the only Bucs player that has been lost so far. He goes to the Philadelphia Eagles on a 1-year deal, and so he's the only guy that was with the team last year that they haven't had a chance to bring back. I mean, everybody, and you got to thank Tom Brady again for being willing to restructure his deal in order to add those voidable years on the back end and not only keep him under team control through the 2022 season, but adding all of those voidable years to free up the cap space to go out and make sure that Shaq Barrett can get his 4-year deal. The fact that they can extend the franchise tender to Chris Godwin and be able to bring back Rob Gronkowski for another year as well.
The Bucs know all that. Bucs fans know all that.
So good.
So let's talk about Nunez-Roches.
Nacho.
Let's get his deal out of the way, and then we can sort of get into what the show's about. Because if you look at it, we've kept the band together, but and Rick Stroud said this, kind of stole it. I should have put it in my teaser. But what about the roadies? What about the guy that works the soundboard? What about the guy that works the lights and all that stuff? And that's like the Nachos, and it's the Joe Higgs, and it's the Josh Wells, and it's the Cockrells. So, I don't know if all those guys are coming back, because obviously we've seen, Andrew Adams, and this is a joke for the pod. I call him the second president of the United States.
Yes.
Even though he wasn't. Like the name's not even right.
Cam Newton's father.
Yeah, right. Yeah, exactly. So we got some names that we're going to go through, but first, let's go ahead and give the details. The deets. Can't believe
absolutely
I said that. The details of the Nacho.
Yep, 2 years, $5 million for Nacho. He's got another $1.5 million in incentives. 2.25 are guaranteed. That is according to Adam Kaplan of the NFL Network. And so to have Nacho be $2.5 million, I think is it's so affordable. And as a guy that you can now make sure that, if Vita Vea has another issue like he had this year, where they've got to go out and he has a freak accident. Let's be honest with Vita Vea, having a guy roll up on your ankle and you break it. That's a freak accident, but it cost him a huge chunk of this past season. And guys like Nacho and guys like lining up next to Ndamukong Suh and JPP, and guys like McClendon. It was a good thing that they had those guys when Vita Vea went down. So
and Nacho, I mean, he started 12 games for this team, and the team ended up number one in run defense. Now, obviously, no one's going to make the argument he gives you what Vita Vea does in the pass rush, because of his pressure, letting the ends get there. But you'd be real hard pressed to make an argument that Nacho, that there was this huge drop off from Vita Vea to Nacho in the run game, because again, like I said, at the end of the year, he started 12 of those games, played most of the plays at nose tackle. He played the most, and again, number one run defense. So it's a good signing by them. And what it really did for me, it took like sort of one position off my plate as far as going looking for guys. So they signed him, and I didn't have to go look at some nose tackles if he didn't come back. But G Vegas says here, he throws out some numbers about how the Bucks are get what they need to sign their rookie draft class, which since the Bucks are picking so low, it's going to be closer to like 3 to 5 instead of 5 to 7, because they got the 32 spot. And he's right. So having to fill out this roster, there's going to be some restructuring that's going to have to be done, or someone's going to have to be let go. And when we talk about letting people go, it's Cam Brate always comes up first. I think he's going to stay. I think they're going to restructure some guys. I think they're going to do Jensen for sure. They're going to sign him to an extension and restructure and lower his cap hit. I hope they do it to Donovan Smith. But if I was Donovan Smith, like, this is my break the bank. You know, they gave him a 3-year deal. This one's voidable. Oh, not voidable. This one's no dead cap this year. I wouldn't want to sign another 2-3-year deal. Like, I want my 5-6 year, you know, $120 million deal. So it'll be interesting what happens with Donovan Smith. He'll be here this year no matter what. Like, they're going to pay him his $14 million. But you know, I'm just not as confident signing extension with Smith that I am with Jensen. So.
Yeah, I think you're right that if you're Donovan Smith, you're certainly looking for that big splash contract coming up. And so you end up getting to a point where Jason Light may say to him, you know, you can either take it now or you can take the extension, and they can sign him to a 5 or 6 year extension and give him and make it a 4 with 2 voidable years, or a 3 with 3 voidable years, which is more likely. If you're going to get a 6 year extension, it's going to be 3 actual years and then 3 voidable years on top of that. But I think Jensen is definitely the biggest candidate to be restructured. I think Cam Brate is going to stay. You know, his connection to the Tampa Bay area runs very deep. And so I think that he's a guy that would be willing to get his restructuring done. You can turn some of the non-guaranteed money into guaranteed money, spread it out over a couple of extra years, and be ready to go there. So those are definitely the two guys that you want to see restructured. And then you're looking at Ndamukong Suh.
Yeah, you're going to pay him.
You know,
there's no money left. With signing Nacho, there's none left.
Exactly.
They're back at 0. But this is what the Bucks do. I mean, like, they free up space, use it, free up space, use it, free up space, instead of just like, we're going to free up as much space as possible and then we'll use it. Like, they have a plan and they have an idea who they want to sign. They freed up space. They got their 3. Then they freed up space again. They got Suck Up, and now they got Nacho. So now they're back down to, you know, they're like right at the cap or right below it or right over it. Not enough to sign Suh. So now this is where the restructuring comes in, because, you know, Suh he's not going to play for like $500,000 for 2. He's going to be a 1-year guy, you know? So yeah, they're going to need all his money now. And all reports are that, you know, he's a high priority out there. So expect some restructuring very soon from the Buccaneers.
Yeah, I think the one thing that you could ask of Suh is to give him the 2-year deal, which is a 1 and a 1. You know, one actual year and a voidable year, and do what you've done with a lot of with guys like Tom Brady, and what you're going to end up doing with Jensen and Cameron Brate, and say, and we'll give you 1 and 1. Let us spread the cap hit out over 2 years, and let us go that route, and we can give you more guaranteed, and just have that spread over 2 years, or make it a 3-year deal, 1 and 2 voidable years. That way you can really do a really good job of trying to limit the cap hit this year, knowing that the cap's going to go up next year, especially because I don't know if you saw this story that came out this afternoon, Ren, but
Probably
the
not.
NFL has gotten its television deals done for the next 10 years.
Wow. How many zeros are on that thing? They probably spell out zillion. Like, you know, like, we're giving you $100 zillion because there's just too many zeros.
And if you don't have a streaming service named Amazon Prime, if you don't own Amazon Prime, you're going to want Amazon Prime now, because Thursday Night Football is now officially going to be an exclusive of Amazon Prime.
Is it really?
It is.
Nice.
I
have Amazon Prime. Did you listen to it was Hannah Storm and somebody else. They had if you watch one of the games, like a Thursday game or a Monday night game, you could either listen to the broadcast, whoever was doing it, on the major network, or you could do Spanish, or you could listen to Hannah Storm and someone else. It was another.
It was like Beth Mowens, or it was.
It was somebody. Yeah, I listened to it for the first game, and it was good. I liked it. It was it was, but by the second drive, I didn't even notice who was talking to me. It was just
Andrea Kramer. Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you, Vegas. It's Andrea Kramer, who is fantastic. Remind me, I've got to tell you I've got an Andrea Kramer story.
Let's hear it.
All right. So Andrea Kramer was doing, this was a story about the legalization of sports gambling in New Jersey and Delaware. And she had done the piece for Real Sports with Brian Gumbel on HBO. And so we had Andrea Kramer on with Pat and Aaron. This is when I was filling in for their normal producer who was on vacation. I think his wife had just had a baby, so he may have been on paternity. But we had Andrea Kramer on, and when I got Andrea Kramer on the phone, I said, you're going to be talking with Pat and Aaron, and Pat, he's going to be the one that's got the real deep voice. It sounds like he's from Boston. And Aaron is kind of the nasally one who's the gambling degenerate. So all of the really tough gambling questions are going to come from Aaron.
All right.
And so
everything's true so far.
Yes. And so I get Andrea on the air with them. And the first question that Aaron gives is, of course, about how this affects him and his gambling.
Yes.
And he goes, and so she goes, this is Aaron, right? And he goes, yeah. And he goes, it's because I had to ask because my sources tell that Aaron is, quote, a gambling degenerate. She used me as a source for what it did was Aaron was really nervous because this is Andrea Kramer. This is somebody that he grew up watching on ESPN, and now she's on his show. And it put Aaron right at ease. He got so relaxed. It just was so great to watch him interact with Andrea Kramer. And of course, at the end, she goes, "Aaron, be good." And I've used that drop for Aaron the entire time that I was there. So, but Andrea Kramer, just an absolute sweetheart and a hell of a reporter, and so good. But let's take a look at some of these. They did not give the numbers in the release from the NFL, but it is a 10-year deal.
Twitter's only 180 characters, like I said.
I've got
so many zeros.
Yeah, the release from the National Football League. These agreements begin in 2023 and run through 2033.
All right.
So
probably be dead.
Amazon Prime has acquired the rights to be the exclusive home of Thursday Night Football across hundreds of compatible digital devices. So CBS will retain rights for the AFC package of Sunday afternoon games. They will be broadcast on CBS. If you have the Paramount Plus, which I guess is what CBS All Access has become, it's their streaming service. You can watch them on there as well. ESPN is going to keep Monday Night Football, and ABC is going to get 2 Super Bowls along with exclusive regular season games. So there's going to be ABC games now as well. Those games will be streamed on ESPN Plus. Fox continues with the NFC, and they will have stuff on their streaming platform, which is called Tubi, which I didn't realize that Fox owned Tubi.
I didn't know that either.
I didn't know that, but they're going to have stuff on Tubi as well. And NBC retains Sunday Night Football, and you can also watch the stream on Peacock there. So everything is going streaming. All the different networks now with their streaming apps. You're going to be able to watch NFL football streaming wherever you go now, and I think that's pretty cool. Yeah,
it'll be nice to if if something comes up, there's been a lot of times where, Brent and I have been trying to do a show and Brent has to go somewhere with the kids, and it's hard to watch it on your phone. Or there was a couple times where I during the middle of the season, I went to North Carolina, and it's not my family, and I can't be like, okay, everybody, we're gonna watch the Bucks game now with a house full of people that aren't my relatives. So I think that'll be great. That'll help a lot of people. You won't mind so much to go to the grocery store if you're forced to, at halftime, because you just plug in the headphones and put the phone in your pocket, and you can listen to Gene Deckerhoff.
Exactly. Here's the one other thing that I liked about this is that there's going to be increased flexibility of the schedule.
Nice.
We've talked about how you can flex games to Sunday night.
Right.
With this new agreement, they can also flex games to Monday night as well. So ESPN doesn't always get stuck with the crap that the rest of the league doesn't want, because it seems like ESPN always got screwed over with the Monday night games. The Monday night football games were not nearly as good when they went to ESPN as they were on ABC. So now ESPN is going to be able to flex games to Monday night also.
Okay, good. Yeah. It's never any fun when you got to watch Jets Dolphins Monday night.
Ugh.
Gross. It's it seemed like such a good matchup, 4 months ago when we made the schedule.
Oh, look, here's the 4-12 Cowboys taking on the 4-12 New York Giants.
Exactly. That's a much better example.
Beginning
of the year, you would have thought a Giants Cowboys November Monday night game would have been for the division lead. Yeah. Well, it was, but
it was back then.
Yeah, it was.
Now they're looking to see who picks third and who picks sixth. Yeah. So, and Frank G asking, is Monday night's game going to be on ESPN Plus? Yes, those games will also be on ESPN Plus, so you can watch the games streaming. As I said, all of the networks are going to allow for streaming on their platforms. So CBS will be on the Paramount Plus, NBC will be on Peacock, Fox will be on Tubi, and ESPN will be on ESPN Plus. So those big deals in television are going to help boost the salary cap in years to come. But we've got plenty of salary cap and free to questions for this year, because the Bucks still need free agents here, and we'll get to those in just a second. This episode of the Pewter Cast is sponsored in part by Manscaped. That's right. Manscaped, the company that allows you the best in below the belt shaving for men. They love to ask you to give stories. And before we went on the air, I told Ren a story about a guy that I knew when I was in the Navy. And
disgusting story.
Yes, it's a bad story, because I worked in a profession in the Navy that, you're supposed to be pretty smart. I worked in nuclear power, so on an aircraft carrier.
That would help.
And there was a guy that I worked with that did not realize that you shouldn't shave down there with the same equipment that you shave your face with. That guy needed Manscaped. And right now you can go to manscaped.com and use the promo code FANSIDED20. You can get 20% off and free shipping on your order. They've got the brand new Lawnmower 3.0 with a brand new ceramic blade that prevents you from the nicks and cuts down there. If you've used a straight razor down there, you know that can be a problem. Well,
That's not fun.
No, it's definitely not fun. But Manscaped can prevent that with the new Lawnmower 3.0, and you can get it for 20% off and get free shipping on your order. If you go to manscaped.com and use the promo code FANSIDED20.
When you filled out the questionnaire, did you ask for the product?
I did.
I've
not gotten it yet.
I have not. I don't know if we will. I mean, I'd love to get it, but we'll see. We'll see. Yeah.
Without the nicks and cuts of a blade.
Yeah, I'm the Pewter Report. They've been with Manscaped for a little while now, and they won't shut up about it. but they have to, kind of like we're going to be doing here in the future. But they're very excited about it. So as someone who dreads doing that because of the Nixon cuts and because you can't see, and why, when people designed a house, why didn't they put the light over the shower, or it's dark in there, man. It's dark in there. So I'm hoping and praying my Manscaped lawnmower comes and so I can report back to everyone, because I know this is what you tuned in for.
Absolutely. You're not looking for your best Bucks coverage here on the Pewter Cast. You're looking for Ren's update on what happens with his nether region thanks to his
pictures.
lawnmower 3.0. Oh, please don't. Please don't. But speaking of the lower region, the Bucks are within a whisker of the salary cap right now.
Mm-hmm.
And they still have a number of pieces that they need to bring in or bring back in order to get ready for a second run at a Super Bowl championship. And we were looking before the show at some of the big pieces that the Bucks really need. And it really boils down to only 3 or 4 different areas that the Bucks are currently looking at being as areas of need. The first is a backup tackle. You now have Aaron Stinney signed to be your backup interior lineman, but you still need that one backup tackle. And I look at, when it comes to a backup tackle, there are 3 things that come to mind.
All right.
Number 1 is, how old is this guy? Because right now you can go young, you can go more experienced, but I will tell you that if you're looking at some of these younger guys, you're going to be looking to pay a little higher because they're going to be looking for that bump from their rookie contract. The other thing is, you really want a guy with an ability to play both sides if he's going to be a backup tackle. You don't want a guy that can only get stuck over on the right side, or can only play on the left side, and now you're having to switch over your starting tackle over to the other side so you can put your backup tackle there, and that weakens 2 pieces of your offensive line. And the other thing is wear and tear, and that more so goes toward the older offensive tackles, guys that you may be looking to get that one last year out of. And I went and looked at Pro Football Focus, Ren.
Okay.
And there are a number of guys that are currently unsigned, and you're thinking, these guys would be great to have as backup tackles. But unfortunately, you're not going to get somebody like Mitchell Schwartz or Russell Okung coming in as a backup tackle here for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And so
who'd you get?
All right, I've got 3 names for you.
Okay, I got 2.
Okay. The first name I have is a guy that was already here, and that's Joe Haeg. He's got all the pluses that you want. He's familiar with the offensive scheme already, so it's not a guy that you have to get up to speed on a quick basis. He's not having to learn a new playbook. Number 2, his familiarity with Tom Brady and being in the lineup, and he would know his role when he comes back here. He's going to be the 3rd tackle. He's going to, when they go max protect, he's going to be the guy that they use in the jumbo sets on the goal line, so he may catch a pass or 2. And he's going to be a guy that you're going to want to say, okay, if Donovan Smith or Tristan Wirfs, knock on wood, goes down, we hope that happens, you're going to have to play one side or the other, and he's got experience playing both sides. So I like Joe Haeg first as my first choice.
I want to replace Joe Haeg, and everything you said is absolutely correct, except for when he got to play last year. He had to start against New Orleans, and that primetime game where it was disgusting. And his play really got overshadowed by how bad how stupid the defensive scheme was. was play a soft zone against Drew Brees and just let him, find the holes and stand back there and throw the ball, 7 to 15 yards down the field. Like what do you do well, or what can you only do? Okay, we're going to play a defense that maximizes that for you. Joe Hague was not good against the Saints. Now the Saints defensive line, it hurts me to say this, but have dominated the Buccaneers besides the playoff game for the past few years. Like they have, they've had their way with the Buccaneers offensive line as a whole. You can point to Donovan Smith at some points. Definitely point to Joe Hague, who was filling in for Donovan Smith, for that game, I believe. And so that's why I want Hague to be replaced.
Okay.
The first guy I went with is somebody we talked a little bit about the show, but I'm going to go with a guy that you picked as well. His name's Dennis Kelly. He's played for the Eagles. He's played for the Titans. The Titans went and drafted in the first round their tackle of the future, Isaiah Wilson, ended up being a complete turd. He actually got traded this offseason. And he was so bad, Dennis Kelly actually came in and started all 16 games for him because Wilson just couldn't get on the field. He can play both sides. He's a veteran. He's not going to be that expensive. Plus, I think he's going to get a real honest evaluation because the GM of Tennessee is John Robinson, who used to be the right-hand man for Jason Light here in Tampa Bay before he went off and got there. So the guy that I would look at that I think the Bucs can afford and sort of fit in all the parameters that you named is Dennis Kelly from the Titans.
Yeah, and the question becomes, does Dennis Kelly want to stay in Tennessee now that they've traded Wilson and he may get that opportunity to start as opposed to being the swing tackle with the Buccaneers. The other guy that I think that is a possibility and was my third pick is Cameron Fleming, who was with the New York Giants last year. He's a swing guy. He knows that he's going to be a swing guy. He was a swing guy with the Giants. He would be a swing guy here. The one thing is that his knock is that he struggles in the passing game. And what do the Buccaneers do a lot here? Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah. They've got Tom Brady and weapons galore in the passing game. But, you're looking at a guy that is going to be the third tackle as opposed to being a starting guy. I would much rather have Kelly over Fleming, but if Kelly decides he wants to stay in Tennessee and possibly start, then Cameron Fleming is the guy. The other two names that are out there are both ancient. We're talking the Methuselahs of offensive tackles, and they are Jason, the 800-year-old man, the 1,000-year-old man. Let's just put it that way.
Okay, I'll Google it later.
Yeah, we'll find that out. That's going to end up being a hashtag. I'll Google that later. So the true graybeards of the offensive line, and those are Jason Peters and our old friend DeMar Dotson. Now, I don't know about you, but if I'm going to go oldie moldy for an offensive lineman, I don't want the second best oldie moldy offensive lineman. I would want Jason Peters.
I agree. I don't want anything to do with that. Dot's been a Buccaneer, went from a guy that showed up in basketball sneakers for his tryout and in practice and made the team and had a really good 8-9 year career here. Moved on to Denver, did pretty well. Dotson can't run block. He just can't move anymore. His knees just won't let him. He's good in pass protection because he's an albatross. His arms are abnormally long for as tall as he is. And basically he can move backwards. If you know anybody or have been around anybody or you out there yourself, if you start to have bad knees for some reason, it doesn't hurt to move backwards. Like walking down a hill, it's easier to walk backwards with bad knees. And I think that's why Dot is so much better in pass protection. You line up on Dot's inside shoulder, he's not going to be able to get off the ball to hook you. He can't, he's not fast enough to get to the second level to get to a linebacker on backside pursuit. So I'm out with Dot. I don't know enough about Peters. I know the name. He's been, very good for the Eagles forever. I know he's been injured a lot lately and things like that. So, I guess I'm still with Dennis Kelly would be my first choice of anybody we said. And even this guy, Marshall Newsome, who's actually was from Tennessee, but he's also played for the Panthers. He played for the Saints. He's played for the Patriots. The last year Tom Brady was there. And he's just a true swing tackle, kind of like the second guy you said. Nothing great, but the veteran will know his role, won't complain, won't cost a lot of money, and has lots of experience. If you got to plug him in there for a game or two, that'd be fine. But yeah, but number one on my pecking order would be Kelly. Yeah, and I don't want Dot at all.
No, I'm right there with you on that one. My number one for me is Haig, mostly because I think Kelly will end up getting an opportunity to go back and start in Tennessee. So I think I like those for a swing tackle. You can always tell us what your thoughts are, swing tackle, in the comments. And if you're listening on to the audio version of this, you can always go to the pewtercast.com or the pewtercast.live and hit us up on Twitter at the pewtercast. And then, of course, our personal Twitters, you can see them. If you're watching, if you're listening, it's at Ren_Dax and at Steve Carney. I like that for tackles. The other piece that we need to address is a change of pace or a third down back, whatever you want to call it. Somebody
that can catch.
Someone that can catch is for sure. But here's the one thing about looking at running backs in free agency that I've learned over the dozen years that I worked with the Buccaneers radio network. It has to be a guy that is going to cost you less than the corresponding draft pick that you think you're going to use on a running back.
Ooh,
so if you're going to, if you're going to do, if you think you're going to spend a 4th round pick on a running back, I'm just saying that for sake of argument here, for the hypothetical. If you're looking at a 4th round pick for a change of pace back, the free agent guy that you're looking at better sign for less than that 4th round pick. Because overall, I'm talking about signing bonus, everything.
Yeah, I got you.
All in. Because if you're going to go out and get a guy in free agency, I mean, running backs are a dime a dozen. You're better off drafting one.
Drafting him, run him into the ground, and then let him go.
Yeah, because the average lifespan of an NFL running back is what, 2 seasons? So I think you're better off drafting another change of pace running back. But I've got a couple here, and I'll give mine number one. This is a guy that got an opportunity to start this past year because of injury. He's good in the passing game. He caught a number of passes, and this would hurt a division rival.
Ooh,
and that's Mike Davis from Carolina. That's the guy. That's a guy that I would be looking at trying to go after as a change of pace back. He's bigger than Rojo, but also I think has the hands to handle the passing game, especially on 3rd down. He's not going to be one of those guys that's going to break a whole huge amount of yards. And I think his average yards per carry was somewhere around 3 yards per carry. It wasn't great, but I like what he brings in the passing game. And that's the first guy that I was looking at. And I went, ooh, that would be an interesting for me to bring up.
Yeah. I thought that was a real interesting thought you had about how the Bucs, you learned how if the Bucs bring that person in, they have to be less than what they're looking at in the draft. I'm going to start charting that. I think that's really cool. G Vegas says the Jags Robinson, I don't remember his first name either, was undrafted. You can find running backs anywhere. That's a lot of, I will put that up there because that's a lot of how Davis reminds me of. One cut north and south back that, that won't drop the ball, can pick up the pass pro. And I wouldn't look, poo-poo Davis's yards per rush, because Carolina's offensive line was terrible. And I think Davis was top 3 in yards after broken tackles or after contact, or most broken tackles, or, Yeah, so he's not a guy that goes down easily. So obviously, if he's in that category, he has excellent contact balance. And if he had some more room, some more space where he gets hit first, then obviously he would do better. I picked an oldie but a goodie, somebody that the Buck fans were clamoring over a while back. This person can catch the ball. He has had receptions of years of 85 catches, 83 catches, 75 catches, 66 catches, and 45 catches, and played for a measly $750,000 last year. Oddly enough, we played him in the Super Bowl. Le'Veon Bell.
I have him on my list as well. That's amazing.
Yeah. He would be my sort of like my Leonard Fournette, like the Bucs got who,
really
of this year. He's probably looking for a little bit bigger money, but Fournette only got a 1.1. I think Fournette is gone, and everyone's talked about it, but just sort of recap, it's Fournette's 26, and how I talked about Donovan Smith, it's time for him to cash in. And you talked about how short the lifespan of a running back is in the NFL. Like Fournette's sort of in a nice spot. He's 26. He's coming off, he can't be any hotter. He hasn't played any better in his whole career. And now he's hitting the free agency market. And for him to get sort of, I need to live off this rest of my life money, or, I want to set up my family or future family, or, generational money. This is his shot. He can't really take another 1 year, hey, hang around, chase a ring. He's really at the age where he needs to cash in at the running back spot. So that's why I don't think Fournette's here. And that's kind of how we're looking at this position. So I got Le'Veon Bell. You have Le'Veon Bell. I'm going with a guy who I was big off of back in the draft a few years ago, ended up being an Atlanta Falcon. Didn't play that much. Played a little bit because Todd Gurley just, his knees just gave out on him. And he's just not anything he was the first couple of years. I got Brian Hill out of Wyoming. Got 25 balls for him last year for the Falcons. Started, 1 or 2 games. Didn't get to play a lot. But for someone on the cheap, it fits all your parameters. And this is more of a look, he can play. I wasn't wrong 3 years ago when I wanted the Bucs to draft him pick. But someone put there, Alex in the chat was like, don't do James White. Don't do James White. And, I'm with you. Like everyone just seems to be talking about, oh, we're going to get James White. Mm-hmm. What if we don't? And the only other person that I heard was Marlon Mack. Well, he signed. Yeah. So these are some names out there, like that can really fill this third down running back, at least fill the spot until the draft comes, because Jason Light always says that you have to, when you go into the draft, you have to have a team that can play. Like you can't have these massive holes to get pigeonholed into a pick or a position. So those two guys for me. I have another one, but who do you got next?
I've got 2 more. Another one, a guy again, huge pass catcher, really good, and playing on a team that is now officially falling apart and is probably going to be glad to get out of there.
Seahawks. Jets.
No.
Texans.
No. Texans. That's right. Duke Johnson.
Yep.
Duke Johnson Jr. from the University of Miami. And you're talking about a guy that is definitely would be used as a pass catcher mostly, but when David Johnson was hurt, he came in and was serviceable as a running back. So I think that Duke Johnson's a guy that you could look to as well, that probably isn't going to be looking for a whole heck of a lot of money either, and is young also.
I've always been a Duke Johnson fan. I just felt like he never got a fair shake, and then he kind of really got one in Texas and in Houston, and he kind of disappointed me. But as a person who's not gonna, as a running back who's not gonna carry the rock and just be that every other series filler in third down guy, I would not be upset at all if Duke Johnson came to Tampa.
And then my last guy is another guy that spent some time in the NFC South and was known as the change of pace back, also in Atlanta back in the day, and that's Tevin Coleman, coming back from San Francisco. Again, small guy, known to catch, and I think that could end up being the same type of guy that Duke Johnson is maybe a couple of years older than Duke, but I think that those are my two other pieces there that could come here: Duke Johnson and Tevin Coleman.
Yeah, I like it. Plus their familiarity that the Buck staff would have with him, playing him, twice a year last year, with this Buck staff. So yeah, Alan Decker, good friend of the pod, asking for Lindsey,
Lindsey Lohan?
No. No. Lindsey out of Denver.
Philip Lindsey.
Yeah, Philip Lindsey, thank you. I know you know. He had some kind of tag on him and they took it off and now he's cut. He drops the ball too much for me. I thought about him when I saw he was free. I was like, oh, Philip Lindsey. And I looked into it and he just had too many drops. I kind of think that he's going to fit in the price tag. Someone in the chat says he's too expensive. He might be. I don't think so. I wouldn't rule him out for that. I wouldn't rule him out and, sort of this exercise, just be like, he's going to be too expensive. Just a guy that I don't think fits the role. I think he's a tier 3 starting running back. He's not really a third down, change of pace guy that can catch the ball in the backfield, in my opinion.
He's gonna take a 1-year deal somewhere that's prove yourself.
Yeah.
To moving back up to being a tier 2, a mid tier 2 starting running back.
Right.
I think that
6th round fantasy guy.
Yeah, Lindsey. I think his best spot ends up being the Texans. So yeah. That's a spot that I could see Lindsey falling in there. And for Alex, who wants to blow up the running back room, ain't happening when you win a Super Bowl.
No, ain't happening. Ain't happening. In fact, I think the leading. Well, I shouldn't say that, but I think the Bucs are okay going into the season with Rojo and Vaughn being 1-2. I really do. I think Vaughn was just snake bitten for some reason. Every time he got in, he just sort of stubbed his toe. Mm-hmm. But that first pass he caught from Brady, where he scored the touchdown, he turned around late, the ball was on him, he got his hands up, caught it like it was, like he'd been doing it his whole entire life, looked really natural, turned up field, and then, used his momentum and his speed and his body. Instead of diving for the corner, he dove into the defender, and when the defender hit him and started to push him out of bounds, he was already across the goal line and got a touchdown. So he got
the best nickname from it. Sneak. Come on. How great is that? Man. How great is that?
For my last guy is just because I saw him on there and I just wanted to throw it out there is Dare Ogunbowale.
Oh, I love Dare.
Oh, Dare. Yeah. I mean, you watch Dare in training camp and he was like Charles Sims on the edge. You swing a pass out to him, he'd always make the first guy miss. And you're like, wow, this guy's really going to be effective. He was the best pass protector last year, and I'm talking about 2019 when he was with the Bucs. But in the game, he would catch the ball, and then he'd turn around and just freeze, and then he'd see people closing in on him, and then he just put his head. Then he turned to Peyton Barber. He just put his head down and get 2-3 yards, what he could. And it's all right, that's not what I see in practice. Where's the guy that catches the ball, continues running, make the first guy miss, and turn a swing pass or a 5-yard pass into a first down or 7-8 yards. And he turned it into he turned into 5 or 3. And it was frustrating. So just for old time's sake, I just threw Dari in there.
So that's our lists for running back. I have Mike Davis, Duke Johnson, Le'Veon Bell, Tevin Coleman. Ren, who you got?
I got Le'Veon Bell, Brian Hill, and our man Dare Ogunbowale.
Dare Ogunbowale, gotta love it. We'll get into our last grouping here for possibilities when we finish up here on the Pewtercast. If you're enjoying the Pewtercast, you want to hit subscribe, especially if you're watching the live feed, whether it's on YouTube. Hi, everybody on YouTube. Like, comment, subscribe. You want to be able to make sure that you never miss a single episode of the Pewtercast. And then if you're listening to the podcast version of it on whatever platform you're using, you definitely want to hit subscribe and check out fansided.com, where you can also find the Pewtercast. Ren, what's the last group that we're looking at here for possibilities?
I have 2.
Oh,
what's your last group?
Wide receiver.
Okay, I don't have either. I
Oh,
have
really?
safety. I have
Well,
safety, defensive tackle.
only because we had a question in the chat as I look back up about Antonio Bryant from Frank G. Would you bring
Antonio
back
Brown.
AB? Yeah, I'm sorry, Antonio Bryant, Antonio Brown on a cheap deal. The wide receiver market is not hot. I think they can bring AB back. I think Tom Brady wants AB back.
I think you're right. And it's been reported that AB's not off the table. They just have priorities right now. I think once whatever happens with Sue, then I think their focus will turn to the Lenny / AB. But it's really hard. I don't know what kind of market AB is going to demand. I'd love to have him back. Like, he has some of the best feet in football, and what he brings to that wide receiver room, no one has. Like, he can take a screen pass and take it all the way. Like, and he can break tackles. Scotty Miller can take a screen pass and take it all the way, as long as you block everybody. He doesn't have to try to, as long as he can run a straight line and no one gets in his way. AB can zig and zag and move through, getting off the line of scrimmage and press man coverage. He's elite. So yeah, I'd love to have him on. I just don't really know what it's going to bring. So how about, since I have two, you have one, I'll do defensive tackles and you do your wide receivers, and I'll finish up with safeties.
Okay, that works for me. I'm curious to see what you have for interior defensive linemen.
Yeah, for defensive tackle, because remember, Nacho is back, but he's a nose tackle. So Sue's not back. So there may or may not be enough. This is more of a Sue doesn't come back, because they re-signed Patrick O'Connor, and they've got Khalil Davis, in the room already with Golson, possibly Sue. So this is more if a Sue doesn't come back, or because McClendon was more of a nose guard too. So I got an oldie but a goodie, was with the team last year, just got cut from the Patriots, didn't play down, no wear and tear. Bo Allen.
Oh, wow.
We could bring Bo Allen back. A guy, knows the defense and has been in it for a year. So that's sort of like, round peg, round hole there. Of course, Sue, we want him back. But the guy that I thought who was a big disruptor, was, labeled as a big disruptor coming out of college, can help with the pass rush by collapsing the pocket, can hold his gap, can hold up against double teams. Basically a Vita Vea light, actually went to the University of Washington, hasn't shown out that great. He was drafted by Cleveland, I believe, then went to the Patriots for a year. Mm-hmm. Now he's with the Lions. And it's Danny Shelton. That could be a guy, when you look at sort of how his contract has gone, with being released by the Lions, I think it was only like $6 million. So he could be a guy that I think you're going to see sort of after the draft. You're going to see a lot of these veterans do these 1 year. I'm waiting for the salary cap to go up next year. Yeah, but I want to play this year. I think Danny Shelton could slide in there. I know he's been disappointing from where he's been drafted. But if Sue doesn't come back, or even like he get in that room, I think it could be a guy kind of like McClendon was, who just been a solid pro, nothing too fancy, nothing too just do your job. But to be able to get another sort of that fits the mold of Sue and Vea as a guy that can penetrate and push the pocket back and just be that fire plug in the middle. Danny Shelton with somebody that I would look at.
That's not a bad decision there. I like that. I like that one. All right, let's get to my three wide receivers. And it's amazing to think that I'm looking at wide receivers out of the slot. I'm looking at guys that you can put in the slot, and guys that I think would make the Tom Brady style of offense go the way that Tom Brady likes to have it go. And the first guy that I was looking at is a guy that Tom Brady is obviously really familiar with, and that's Danny Amendola, who is a free agent this year. He's on the wrong side of 35, and yes, you can say that he's a gray beard himself, I think that for Danny Amendola, you're not looking for somebody that's going to be, or he's not going to be looking for all the targets to come his way. He's not Antonio Brown. He's not Mike Evans. He's not Chris Godwin. He knows that those guys are going to be the main targets, and he's going to be the guy that you end up being in the slot and being able to use the short passing game with more than, I would say, the possession game with Mike Evans, stretch the field with Chris Godwin. If you're looking to stretch the field, you could go with Keelan Cole, who was with
wait. I gotta give my feelings on Danny Amendola here.
Danny Amendola, here we go.
Yep, but as you've noticed there in chat, I've switched this to a Peter Cast fight.
It's the fight.
This won't take long. He's made of glass and he can't block. That's my argument. You were saying someone else?
He'll bring Kay Adams around, I think.
There you go. He will definitely up the good look quotient.
The good look quotient will definitely get better. If you're looking for somebody though to stretch the field on the other side, opposite of Godwin, you could go with Keelan Cole. He's another guy. He's Scotty Miller. Maybe I think that maybe a little taller than Scotty, but you're looking at a guy that was, he's a number 3 or a number 4 wide receiver at that point. And then the last guy, this is going to make Bucs fans real happy when I say this name, Adam Humphries.
Nice.
He is Danny Amendola 8 years younger.
Yeah, exactly.
So if you don't like Danny Amendola, you can get Adam Humphries instead. And that's another guy. And this I think is the funniest little note from Pro Football Focus with him. He is the second lowest average depth of target in the league since 2017. 7.1 yards. That's his average depth of target.
Yeah,
that's a guy that the short passing game suits him well. And who else does the short passing game suit well in some points? Oh, that's right, Tom Brady.
Yeah, I like it. I'm not sure if he can hold up in the blocking. He's gonna try though. He was a hell of a try. I mean, yeah, I thought he was gonna do really well at Tennessee. When he went there, Marcus Mariota was still their quarterback, and the knock on him was he didn't push the ball down the field. So who's roaming the middle of the field? Like all Adam Humphries does is get open and catch the ball. I mean, what else do you need?
2019, he had 48 first downs and touchdowns. I mean,
48 first down touchdowns.
Yeah. So 48 of his passes in 2019 resulted in either first downs or touchdowns.
Gotcha. Yeah, but they just didn't seem to use him. And then when Tannehill got in there, like he just kind of disappeared.
Yeah.
Even though, which I thought was also funny, was when he signed had a deal in principle with Tennessee, and then New England came calling, and he's like, "No, I said I'll play with Tennessee," and it actually being the right choice. Mm-hmm. And it would have been, but I would have loved to see Adam Humphries get to play 1 year with Tom Brady in New England. Like he would have caught like 400 balls.
and that's what I'm thinking. You're getting a guy. The thing with Humphries is that his production comes from volume, and he won't get the volume. So I think he's probably the least likely of those three.
All right, last
safeties.
Yes, last position, safeties. I have 3 guys. There's a lot of safeties out there, guys. So what I did, I went with people that were familiar to the Buccaneers. My first one's Dakota Dixon. Now, if you don't remember Dakota Dixon, he was an undrafted free agent in 2019 that the Bucs picked up, and he was going to win the starting job at safety alongside Jordan Whitehead. You got to remember, this is pre-Winfield, and this was the first year of Edwards, Mike Edwards, who didn't have a really good first year, especially first half of the first year, because the guy who just left for the Eagles, the second president of the United States, Andrew Adams, was starting over him.
Daddy.
It's Cam Newton's daddy. And then, of course, Justin Evans was still hurt. But then right when he started to shine in practice, he got hurt. They put him on IR, so he stuck around all year. This year he came back and he got cut. He didn't make the team, made to the last cuts. Then they put him on the practice squad, and he hung around the practice squad till October, late October. So I think that's a guy. I really think that's him. Like, they're just going to go grab him, and he's going to kind of fill in and be the fourth safety, see if he can win the job. Also, a couple other guys I picked up. Keanu O'Neal from Atlanta. He was sort of a cap casualty there. He's played some good football. He's in the division. Of course, the Bucs coaching staff will know him. He's really not that expensive. But he might be, I don't really think he'll want to come here because he'll be clearly the fourth safety going into training camp. And that's probably something he's not too interested in. I just thought it was an interesting name, somebody that we knew, the Bucs fans knew, and sort of his salary would be able to fit in there. But the last guy is another sort of like a Dare, Bradley McDougald.
I saw that name come up. I was like, oh, Bradley McDougald.
Yeah, I mean, he played a couple years as starting safety with the Seahawks. You know, they're known for their defense. And then last year was with the Jets, and now he's a free agent. I don't think he costs a lot of money. Really nothing more. I'm not really sure how he'd fit in. He's really not a thumper. He really doesn't I think he would be more of a Jordan Whitehead, setting the edge, just not quite as a big hitter as Whitehead. Make his presence felt, but that's what he was best at, that I remember, was being able to come up and make some tackles in space when, you know, it was like, okay, like, we've stretched this out to the sidelines. Now where's the safety to come up and make the tackle for the 1 yard loss or the 2 yard gain? I think McDougald could slide into there and do that. But I really think it's going to be Dakota Dixon. So that's all I got, man.
I love it. If it's Dakota Dixon, I think I know I'm going to be happy. I know you would be happy, and I would hope that Bucs fans would be happy as well. Those are our lists for this week.
That's it, man.
Everybody has it. That's it. That's the list, and that'll do it.
Guys are going to fill out the roster.
There you go.
Some guys you could look for. Yeah,
exactly.
Just bringing something a little different. You know, I know this is heavy in the contract talk, and everyone's talking free agency and you know, all the big guys that are coming back and you know, what a great job they're doing, and they are. But you know, if you go on one of these sites, you know, like Spotrac or Over the Cap, and click on Buccaneer, you know, free agents, or, you know, unsigned free agents, people that were on the team last year, there's a lot of them. And Haig isn't signed, Wells isn't signed before today, Nacho wasn't signed, you know, and of course we lost Adams, and we only got 2 running backs on the roster. So this was something that you know, we tried to point you in the direction of some guys that kind of fit the scheme and fit the locker room the Bucs have familiar with, besides the name James White.
Oh, I think we're gonna hear James White every single week until James White signs somewhere, whether that's like here or somewhere else.
It's the Dalvin Cook draft all over again.
Oh my goodness gracious!
Like Dalvin Cook. Like at the end, I'm just like, somebody just draft the guy so I can quit talking about him. Like, you know, I don't want to answer. Like, somebody just draft him. Like, I'm just sitting there. Brett and I were doing like a live, you know, live draft. We did it for 2 days. Maybe I did it myself in the second. I don't remember. All I remember is just like us just going, God, somebody just draft this guy. Like, you know, after every pick, Dalvin Cook's still on the board. Like, trade up for Dalvin Cook.
I remember after night 1, because Dalvin went, was it second or third in the second round?
He went in the second.
He went in the second round, but he was either the second pick or he was either the third or the fourth pick in the second round. Yeah. I can't remember. But I remember JP Peterson that entire day before the second round started up. He's like, Dalvin Cook is still out there. I can't believe it. Dalvin Cook, he went to Florida State. He's so great. Come on, Dalvin Cook.
That's a good one. I like that impression.
You
will not find a bigger Florida State homer than JP Peterson,
except for maybe Mark Cook,
who didn't go to Florida State.
Yes. Yes, Cookie is a Florida State apologist as well. But yeah, my JP impression has taken years of work. But JP knows that I do the impression. I don't do it out of malice, which is the thing about my impressions. None of them are ever done out of malice. I never do an impression to be mean to somebody. But so JP knows that I do the impressions.
All my impressions are.
Yes.
The exact opposite.
Yes. And that's what makes us work so well is that, all of you, I'm self-deprecating and you like to crap on people. And I'm usually the one that gets crapped on.
I have not crapped on you yet.
Not once. Not once.
Not once.
Let me eat my own crow. I appreciate that.
Yeah. I mean, if you're going to own up to it, I won't have to crap on you.
Exactly. I can. Hey, I've been wrong many times before, and I'm going to be wrong many times upcoming as well. So I'm not afraid of it. Not afraid of being wrong. I may be wrong today. All right, let's get out of here because
take us home, Carney.
We have been going for plenty of time here on the Pewtercast. If you have enjoyed the Pewtercast, again, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe on YouTube. Make sure that you are following and subscribing on whatever podcast platform you're using, whether it's Apple Podcasts or Stitcher, Spotify, Google Play, iHeartRadio, whatever it is. Leave us ratings and reviews on iTunes. If you're using Apple Podcasts, definitely need some ratings and reviews. Hopefully good ones, but we read the bad ones as well, especially me. So before we get out of here, Ren, give us the Ren addiction. Tell us where we can find you.
Best place to find me is on Twitter at Rendax, REN_DAXT. I'm always down to talk Buccaneers football, but if your take's too hot, you don't want to put it out there on the Twitter sphere, feel free to slide in my DMs and we'll talk Buccaneers football there as well too.
Yeah, and you can follow me on Twitter at Steve Carney. And check out stpete9.com, my Tampa Bay Rays site as well, and Under the Orange Roof, my Tampa Bay Rays podcast, which drops every single Monday. And check out fansided.com, the official home of the Pewtercast, as we are the official Bucks podcast of fansided.com. So until next week, go buck yourself.
I gotta stop.
Gotta quit it. Gotta quit it.